I'm making Miss Amber's cake. And as I'm doing so, we had a live earlier today on how to wrap the cake in whipping cream. And now that I'm gonna start and make this fondant from scratch, I thought this is the perfect opportunity to actually show you how it's easy to make fondant that then you can color dye in the colors you like, so you can make the cake that you like. So for those of you that were not here earlier today, this is Miss Amber's cake design. She is, her channel is Digest This #5 on YouTube, and she is a food critic. So I want to do it well. She's been a friend of the family for years. She's a big foodie. She loves anything that's colorful, new experience, and she actually takes you through her experiences on her channel. So she asked for a cake that would look like a table set with a tablecloth and her favorite food on top. To do so, I need to dye fondant in the colors I want, and so I need to make my fondant from scratch. So here we are. So you will start with a small bowl that will then go on a pan to melt bain-marie. So before anything, you will put 2 of those pouches, the gelatine pouches. And I just took in my fridge very cold water, filtered. And this is half a cup. I will stir it slightly. There you go. And until this is completely solid, like I can turn the ball and it's not falling, this is not ready. So we will give it a little time to rest. And in the meantime, we'll talk about how we will then divide our fondant and color it in the different colors that I need for this cake. So I need to make the tablecloth, which is gonna be white, and we'll add probably, like it is in the old French restaurants, a little stripe or a little checker in the red. And to make the tacos, the burger, the fries, the popcorn, the pizza. Bonjour. Hey. The cake, the noodles. I need to make several tones of beige and browns, even for the steak of the burger versus the bread of the bun. And I will need, so several tones of the brown, the beige and the dark brown. I will need some red. I will need some green for the peppers, some yellow for the cheese, and some white, of course, because you still want to keep your cake within designated colors, so it's not going all over the place and it still looks homogeneous. So we will need more beige and brown than anything. So I'm gonna just take it out. By the way, those are gel coloring. Sometimes I use more natural ones. This time, because we want it so colorful and bright, it's not possible to use colors that are more natural. So I'm using the standard regular, either Wilton or here satin ice. It doesn't matter. It just has to be gel though. And it goes with also dark red, I'd say, to make the paste on the pizza, maybe the little stripe on the tablecloth. I'm trying to show you at the same time. The yellow for the cheese. And I may need some black just to darken some of my colors, and I believe my black is here. There we go. So once the fondant is made, you'll see that I will want to cover my cake in white straight away. I won't want to wait because this fondant is not able to be supple enough for long enough if I do so. So here, your gelatin is ready. It can now go right here. Bain-marie. As we continue explaining what the steps are going to be. And once this is completely melted in like 3 minutes, we can start making the fondant. So for those of you that are here with a cup of tea and we'll chat, you're welcome to. For those of you who actually want to make fondant together, you'll need corn syrup, 1 cup, vegetable glycerin, 2 tablespoons. You'll need the Crisco or another brand of shortening, or you can replace it with butter if the cake is for tomorrow. But if you want to be able to keep it in the fridge for a few days, then you want to use the shortening, definitely. And you'll need a 1/4 cup of that. You'll need 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Mine needs to be gluten-free. Yours may not have to. We have just used 2 pouches of the gelatin and 1/2 cup of cold water that mine came from the fridge. Like I want it cold, not just room temperature. And then you'll need between 14 and 16 cups of the powdered sugar. So when I tell you I don't put too much sugar in the whipped cream is because there your sugar is. Your sugar is into your fondant. It's not sugar paste for no reason. It takes its name. It's literally made with powdered sugar. So as this is melting, I hope you see well. I'm using, see, it's already starting to not be so solid. As this is melting, what I was saying is I will cover the cake straight away after this fondant is made with its dress, because as of tomorrow, my fondant won't be supple enough that I will be able to make a cake dress. The cake right now is in the fridge. It's been since her last live. And if I want to do the decoration themselves tomorrow or Friday, it's no problem. But the big pieces of fondant, I definitely want to do it right after this live or right at the end of this live, depending on how long it takes to make this. But once you have your fondant that's made, you'll be able to dye it in the colors you want. And I will do so after I've covered the level of the cake. So here, it's starting to be liquid. You see? You want to know how we make the white fondant? So that's a very good question. The fondant itself is white. Even though my vanilla extract is like definitely brown, especially since it's a natural one and not a copy of a flavor. First, when you put the vanilla here, you think, oh my gosh, it's gonna be colored or it's gonna be beige. No, it comes white. So I've never used a white coloring. I guess white coloring is gonna be more for your red is too dark and you want it pink, or you have black fondant or gray. But your fondant originally comes white. And for this cake, as well as any other cake I'm making, I'm going to cheat and I'm going to use some of the fondant I have from last week. Like typically, I still have some of that green, which is almost perfect for peppers. And for the mini sprinkles, I'm gonna put on tacos or the piece of salad that I'm gonna imitate into the burger. So there are some colors I'm not gonna make today just because I have that color from the previous cake. I needed that green so I could make Jean's 101st birthday cake with the roses and the leaves, and that's why I have that color. So there's no need to redo it. It's better to keep more fondant in white and have it and be able to use it later for more creations. So now it's melted enough. So you will add 1 cup of the corn syrup, and it's very gluey, and that's normal. Let me orient the camera. There you go. 1 cup of the corn syrup. And this is not even touching my mat that I need super clean for after. We'll add 2 tablespoons of the vegetable glycerin. This one, I want you to see it as a lion, like it's gonna link everything together, like eggs do in most of the recipes of the baking. And sometimes when I have issues with my fondant and it's too crumbly, and I actually use more vegetable glycerin. And then a 1/4 cup of the shortening. So the trick here is you don't want to just put the 1/4 cup in. You want to put mini chunks so it's going to melt faster, so your fondant is going to be ready faster. I mean, it's already 7:46 or so, but I thought it was just the good opportunity to share this together. I don't have my little one right now. He's not in the kitchen running, and my older son is able to be quiet and probably is watching the live with us. And it's just, I'm making it now, so I take the opportunity. So here, now we want all this to melt, and we want no chunks of the shortening left before we stop the gas. And only once we have stopped the gas and taken this off this little pan, which, if I can remind you, it's right now baking bain-marie, so there's water boiling under. Only once it's off the gas, we will add the vanilla extract. And the first time I made some fondant, I was wondering why I had to wait. So I didn't wait. And I made a volcano. So you really want to take it off the gas before you put the vanilla extract. Even though it's a very small quantity, it's gonna make the solution react. And I don't know why. I'm actually curious to know. Magnifique poêle. Huh. You like my utensils? They're all like between 10 and 15 years old. Besides this one I just got in Florida when I went to see my friend Caroline, the Mosaic Fairy. I found it at a thrift store for almost nothing, and I was like, this is mine. And it has to fit in my suitcase above my head in the flights. I mean, it worked, it's here, and it's not broken. But I guess I was lucky on this one. It was the exact size of all my other bowls. Smaller, but just the bigger size, which is needed when you make fondant, because you'll see that as we add the cups of sugar, the one after the other, you need a big bowl, and at some point around cup 9 or 10, it becomes too thick to continue mixing it from the bowl, so you have to put everything on the mat. So eventually, actually right now, we will start preparing our mat, so it's ready for our mat and bowl, so it's ready for when we make the fondant. So let's do this here. We will add right now 4 cups of sugar here. And you'll have to remind me at how many cups we are at, so I don't forget. And you'll see I'll make a little volcano. Now, depending on how packed your cups are, and depending on your weather, you need between 14 and 16 cups of the powdered sugar. You will know that your fondant is ready when it's not sticky to your hands anymore. And you'll see that the trick is to actually wrap the fondant, the paste sugar, into cellophane so it doesn't dry. So I put 3 cups here. There's approximately 7 cups per pouch of 2 pounds. So to make a cake, you probably need 3 of these to decorate your cake. Here, let's put the 4th one. And then I'm making a little volcano, like we do with the puree in France for the kids, so they have the chicken juice. This way I'll be able to just verse my fondant inside and start stirring it. We're almost getting there. There's almost no more Crisco little chunks left, which is good. It went pretty fast. There we go. Merci, Sophia. Thank you so much, Sophia. Okay, so now we stop the gas. We have no more chunks, right? I'd like to take you, but I'm scared to move it because it's still super hot. So let's just turn off the gas. I'm gonna take some, this here, so I don't burn myself. Here you go, because it's hot, right? It was on boiling water. So you absolutely do not want to touch this right now. You put it aside. It's gonna be perfect to actually rinse your bowl that has all that gluey inside, because it's sticky right now. Okay, so you see it's off the gas. I'm not redoing a volcano. And here I'm gonna put 2 teaspoons of the vanilla extract, and my tool is already 2 teaspoons. So you see me doing once, but it's because it's already a 2 teaspoon measure. So here, goes inside. It's gonna do like psh, but it's not gonna do it too much because it's off the gas. We'll stir it slightly. We can use this since we will use it to blend it with the sugar later. There you go. And your fondant solution is ready. So I'm gonna move you here. Those are the issues of lives. There you go. And so now it goes straight into the little hole. I'm glad you love making cakes. I love making cakes too. Did you see the channel? I'm trying to share. My friend Caroline had me start this channel back in October when I really needed to keep my mind busy. And it keeps you busy to edit all those videos. Just so that's working. So now you stir. And I had been told for several years, why don't you have a YouTube channel? And I was just never taking the time, making the time. You know, full-time job, full-time mom, full-time 5 lives. So okay, so see, at the beginning, your fondant is almost like liquid paste, like caulking. And as you add, it's going to become thicker and thicker. And right now, to go back to Caroline's question earlier, yes, it's still beige, but as we will add, because of the vanilla extract, but as we will add the white powdered sugar, it's going to become white. So I blend it really well because I don't want to have bubbles here. Remind me how many cups I have in there? 4. Okay. So we'll do 3 more. Five. 6, 7. Professional bakers are going to tell you do it 1 cup at a time. I don't have that time. But yes, probably it's easier and better. I can't. I need this cake covered by tonight before midnight, so we need to get it done. Okay. So see, it's becoming thicker, and it's not going to be smart to continue with this tool because it's going to grip some in the middle. What type of cake do you like making? Maybe I could get some ideas from you. So here it's almost too hard now. So we'll just use this not to lose none of our fondant. Fondant is also called sugar paste. And I don't know why I'm calling it fondant actually. I hope it's the right word in English. But in French it would be pâte à sucre. And this is what I use to decorate the cakes. I wish I could show you one, but I have none left here. But you can see on my channel several cakes. I mean, in the shorts, you literally have like the first picture is usually a cake. Okay, so these we won't use anymore. And now we're super happy to have this boiling water because it's gonna unstick everything. So now we use a wooden spatula. Some people will use plastic. I tend not to because I'm scared of plastic and I don't think it's good for the health. Not that sugar is, but this is an exception for birthdays, weddings, you know. It's not an everyday dish, but I tend to try to stick to glass, silicone, and wood, and stainless steel as I use things in my kitchen. Ah, pâte à sucre, voilà. Yes, it's pâte à sucre in French. So you can, what's great is if you put it into the cellophane and into boxes like this, at some point you can use some and sprinkle some on cupcakes. You can have it to decorate anything you want, really. You can make an apple pie and add a happy birthday, writing it onto the apple pie. It doesn't have to be a cake. Okay, so here I had 4 plus 3, 7. So let's do 8 and 9. And see, I'm approximate in the way I do it because anyhow, I already know that I'm gonna juggle between 14 and 16 cups of powdered sugar, depending on how humid it is right now outside and in the house, and also depending on what color I'm gonna dye it in later. I'm gonna tell you about this actually, and depending on how packed those cups are, because I mean, if they're loose, you probably need more cups than if they're not loose. So really what you want to learn today is when to know that your fondant paste is ready. So the coloring. The darker the color of the cake or the fondant that you're trying to do, the harder the fondant is going to become, the less soft, because you have to add more gel dyes and so more powdered sugar. So when I know that I'm going to make a cake that's dark, like I did this tequila cake, and my friend Caroline was like, oh, it's the most beautiful. And I'm like, yeah, but I never do dresses in black because it's so hard. The way I did it is my original fondant was almost still sticky. So by the time I put the black, it was still soft and it was still hard to cover and it was still a fail. And I have a whole video about this. My son is helping me. It's like almost midnight and I'm on my 3rd wrap attempt. And if it's your first cake, wrap it in white. So you have your fondant in its best texture to work with, and then go and adventure yourself with maybe a pastel color before you even go into reds or blacks that are the hardest. just because you have to add so much gel coloring. Think of it, if you put 2 drops of red, it's gonna make a dark pink. It's not gonna make it red. And if you put a few drops of the black, it's gonna make it gray because your fondant originally is white. So, Caroline, you need to remind me how many cups I put in here. I'm at 9. I think I'm at 9. It feels like I'm at 9. So see, as you go, your paste gets thicker and thicker. Okay, so let's do 10. And usually past 10 or 11, I cannot continue in the bowl. So let's do 10. We'll open the next one because at some point my hands that are super clean right now, of course, otherwise you wear gloves, will be touching the, yes, okay. We'll be touching the paste, and it's not gonna be easy to take the sugar from these anymore. So now I have 10. Let's do it this way. Here. Let's make it really 10, not just 9.5. There we go. Do you see okay? Okay, so we blend this one. Ça fait 10. And as we go, see, I work it like I would a loaf of bread. I make those gestures like that. And now I agree with the professional bakers. Now you go 1 cup at a time. Because if you put too many, it's too dry. And if it's too dry, you cannot use it for your cake. So you wasted your time. And you have to redo it again. There are some options to add some water or vegetable glycerin, like I was saying earlier. But it's not going to help you for the wrap of the cake. It's going to help you for a mini decoration that you don't want it to be crumbly, but not for big pieces of fondant. But right now it's good because we did everything in a row. So the fondant is cooperating. Okay, so now it's too hard for me to continue in the bowl. So this is gonna go to the side for a second and we will prepare this mat. So this mat needs to be clean of anything. So I take all my ingredients out of the mat surface. Just I keep the powdered sugar. Anything else I probably don't need anymore. There we go, we have our drawing here for those that just arrived. Because I just worked on it, I'm gonna use paper towel to just spread some of the sugar that's already there, because we want sugar on the mat. If you don't use sugar, you can use cornstarch, but it's another thing I don't use too much, even though that's gluten-free. Or it has to be the one that comes from France, and then, you know. Okay. So now I'm gonna just add some sugar with my hand like this to my mat. So my mat is not gonna show black anymore. And almost my entire fondant will never touch my mat directly, because what I'm gonna do is cup 11, 12, and 13. Remember, I told you between 14 and 16. So I know that I can put 13 without any problems. So I'm gonna spread this on my mat, and I'm gonna take this paste and put it on top of that nest of powdered sugar. Okay, just like that. So my fondant is almost not touching my mat directly, so it's gonna prevent it from gluing to the mat too much. It's okay if it does. It's just more work if it does. There we go. And I will need an extra spatula to just not lose all that fondant that's on my wooden spatula right now, my wooden spoon. And see, I'm like doing a revers like this. I don't want my fondant to go past the powdered sugar. Here. So because I'm here and you're online, I'm going to use a knife. It's going to be easier than going to get a spatula. Here we go. Just so I don't lose all of that. I need ideas of what I can put on her cake. Thank you for saying it looks yummy. My kids that are never allowed sugar for plenty of reasons. My youngest is autistic and has a lot of brain inflammation, and my oldest is allergic to wheat, and I mean, you know, it's just less sugar, better. So they're not allowed sugar often. And when I make fondant, they're like waiting in line to get those mini crumbs because now it tastes like a bakery, of course. Okay, so we don't need the spatula anymore, besides the fact that we want to scrap this. So we're not wasting fondant because there's still a lot left. Of course, if you have a plastic spatula, then it's gonna go against the edges of the bowl that's rounded, but in my case, I will no matter what lose some. That's okay. Here. But see, that's a lot of fondant that's left on the bottom of the bowl for now. That's gonna be hard to wash on top of it because this is really sticky right now. You can use boiling water. It's just gonna help you clean your utensils after. There we go. I'm happy if you're getting good tips. I'm trying. I'm trying because any cake I make, I always, like I have a goal originally, but then, you know, as things go, I adapt. Okay, here. So here we have our paste. We got the max that we could get. I'll rinse this for later when I do decorations because I make most of them with a knife. So this is gonna be useful. And here, so I take under my sugar, my hands still have sugar on them, under my sugar, and I go like this. Caroline, you will have to remind me how many cups I have right now. I think it's 13. Okay, here. See how I turn it like it's a loaf of bread? Literally. I'm not touching the fondant. I always have sugar on my hands before I get to the paste. And I'm just folding it until I'm gonna get to a point. And here I touched it and look, it's glued to my fingers. So you try to be with the powdered sugar first. But you guys, it's super easy to make. And the reason I first made my own fondant is because I was making cakes for my kids and I was buying my fondant in the store, right? I mean, I get that not everybody is going to do it from scratch. Not everybody has the time, the intention, the knowledge, well, now online we see a lot of things, but you know. So I was not making my fondant originally, but then my child wanted a Winnie the Pooh cake and I could not find the colors at the store. And so I went online and I tried to see how to make fondant, and I couldn't really find a recipe that was, you know, long lasting, because if I make a cake and I'm a full-time mom and I'm a full-time working person, I make it over a week. I don't make it in 2 days and then it's ready. And like my recipes need to last and not expire fast. And so, plus it needs to be gluten-free. So I tried several recipes just to be able to color it in the colors I wanted. Yes, thank you, Sophia. I think I'm at 13 because I said, remember, that I already know that I'm gonna go up to 14 or 16, so I was not taking a risk by putting the 13 in. And look, it's already actually not bad. It's still too gluey, but already, look, it's not too sticky to my hands. So let's add another one. So now we will be at 14. And since to make decorations and to dye the portions of fondant that we want to dye in the beige, the brown, the dark brown, the red, maybe the green or maybe not because I have some in the yellow. So this is 14, 15. Anyhow, to make the decorations, I always have 1 cup of, and to dye the fondant for the portions we want, I always have 1 cup to the side that I'll be using for the couple days that I'm actually making the cake. So here, this is 14. And it may be enough. Let's see, because it doesn't really glue to my hands. How long have we been online for? Like, do you want to see how I cover a cake? Or should I stop at making the fondant and once the paste is ready? We won't dye it together because I want to cover my cake first. So we won't dye fondant. That could be the topic of the next live. But we could cover a cake together if you want, because the cake is ready in the fridge. What is funny, Caroline? What is funny? Tell me. I need to know how to go back into the comments and be able to scroll and see. But right now I cannot touch my phone. So here we are at 14. And even though I made that nest of sugar, see, it's still sticky. So we'll just reapply sugar here. There we go. Goes back on the sugar. And that mat, I just bought it after using the same IKEA mat for like, what, 15 years? It was dead. Could not just, I mean, I used it. It was really good until not anymore. Because, you know, you cut with a knife over it. I mean, you damage it as you go. So that fondant has now, we said 14. And that fondant is actually needing just what's on the mat, I guess. Maybe another cup, but certainly not 16. So maybe we'll go to, let's see. Because I prefer it, you know, just too soft, and we can add sugar, and that's completely fine, than too dry, and then we cannot work it. I want the fondant to cooperate. Makes it way easier. And right now I'm thinking, when I look at the design of the cake, that I'm gonna do a white dress and then a stripe red on the bottom of the fake tablecloth. So I may have to dye the red first. Should I not have to do this because it's part of the big pieces of fondant, right? But should I have not needed the red first, I would have dyed my color in order of darkness, like from the lightest to the darkest. Because this way you can use just one bowl, you can use just 2 gloves, because you put gloves to dye the fondant so it doesn't dye your fingers, your nails. You know, I mean, you can tell it's like being a painter. Okay, so this is not bad already. It looks like we're having a beautiful loaf of fondant right now, already. It's still workable, so if I want to erase a line, I can. You see it? It's white. I don't know if this is visible, but it's white. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put sugar around it. So this is my 15th cup. I put sugar around, so I keep it like sealed. Yes, I think this is good because it's not gluey to my hands no more. So for you to see online, see how it's workable and it's not cracking and I can make whatever I want. Now it's not gonna be like those fondants that have all those extra ingredients and people go like this and it extends in, no. So, because I put the least ingredients possible, right? So, but it is workable. Pretty easy workable. Until you try to make it black. Should we conclude our live now? Yes, it looks like bread. It looks like a loaf of bread. Lucy is saying that it looks like sourdough bread. Yes. So this is what I was saying earlier. As you work it, at some point, it's like working a loaf of bread, literally. It's not harder, not easier because it's a little workout and a little patience, but I mean, it's worth it. Now you can dye it in the colors you want for your cake. Should we cover the cake together? It's usually a struggle, so this way we can see together. Maybe someone has an idea to do it differently. Okay, I go get the cake. So here is the cake that we made live earlier today. And we covered it in whipping cream. In whipped cream. Don't know why I'm mixing those words. And now we want to cover it with the fondant dress. And potentially, after the live, I'll do the tablecloth. So, yes, it's yummy. So, and my cakes are all gluten-free. A mix of almond and tapioca starch or rice flour 1-to-1 because we're gluten-free. But most of my recipes, unless it's an almond cake, most of my recipes can be completely twisted with regular wheat flour. If you're not gluten-free, I mean, people do, you know. But in our case, we cannot do gluten. Okay, so with a knife, I'm gonna think that we said I need yellow, and I don't have any yellow left, so this I will really need. We said potentially a little black to darken some colors. We're wondering about the green, and I really wonder because the green I have right now, seriously, I can make the little things that look like the mini strips of pepper on top of tacos, on top of a pizza. I think that's the right green. So in that case, because I need it so small, I don't care it's a little harder, and I may just not make extra green. So I don't think I'm gonna make extra green, but I will make extra red for sure. So yellow, red, let's see for the green later. And then 3 shades of brown. Beige, brown, and dark brown. Dark brown being your meat, of the burger, dark brown being maybe the piece of chocolate cake that I'm gonna make on top of the cake. I need red for the pizza sauce. What was yellow? Oh, yellow, the fries. We also need red for the fries box. She wanted a Coke, so I probably need to make a can in red. Means I need some gray. So now I know I need some black because I'm gonna make a little gray. Or I'm just gonna paint it in silver. It's gonna do it simpler. So see, as I go, I realize what I need and I anticipate for the next. So right now we're saying I need to put tacos, burger, fries, popcorn. I may actually put real popcorn. Pizza, a piece of cake, and noodles on top of her cake. So 3 shades of brown, yellow, dark red, I have my green, and white. Okay, so half of this, at least, can be kept in the white, no matter what. And I'm gonna use all of that to make the dress of the cake, and whatever is a scrap, I'll use for later. So right now, as there's half I'm not gonna use to wrap the cake, that half will have powdered sugar on every side and will go straight into cellophane. And I've tried every other way, trust me, and cellophane is really your best friend when it comes to keeping your fondant as soft as possible while you're doing something else. Or once you want to store it like I did for those colors, the leftovers. There you go. So this right now is all the fondant that will later. Okay, so we want to make the dress of the cake. For the little story, I bought a rolling pin on Amazon. You know, I see Sophia that says it's not her forte to do this. I did this in 10 minutes before the live earlier. And I already had an idea in my head, huh? But you know, as you do them, like my son came up with, I want a Mario Kart cake. I've never played Mario Kart. I have no idea what the symbols of Mario Kart are. But you just think, okay, what are the symbols that you see around? And if you see them, it makes you think of that theme already. Like, no question. I made Le Petit Prince. Maybe Caroline can translate that one. I made, I don't even know, Jumanji. A school bus cake with Pete the Cat. I made Dragon Love Tacos cake for my little one. I made a Chanel cake because I used to work at Chanel for almost 10 years in France in the marketing department, and I have 2 boys, and you know, I don't have a girl. And my little neighbor came and was like, I'm gonna turn 9 and I'm a Chanel fan. Can you make a Chanel cake? That was the most fun experience I ever had, because for me, it's a theme that I could not do until I did for anybody else that was not my kid, you know, my child. I made the Tour de France cake. I made a Olympic game cake. Every year I make water polo cakes. Just think of what those symbols are. And once you have those symbols, think of what color they're in. Because you don't want to have a cake that's 55 colors, right? It's not going to look good. It's impossible. There's too much to do. When I went at the bakery the first time before I made my first cake, and they asked for $1,200 for a cake, and I was like, not happening. The lady said, and it's $75 more per color. And I was like, she's killing me right now, because my kid wanted a cake on the superheroes. So I had like 7 colors needed. So that was like almost putting 50% on top of the price of the cake that I had to pay extra, which was the point, because if it was to have a cake that was plain, then why? Now that I dye the colors, I understand why she said that. Okay, so it takes time. And to not be able to do a drawing is okay, as long as you have it in your head. You just need to know, because here, if I didn't know I wanted to make a burger, like how do I know what portion of beige do I need? I don't, you know, especially if I make the burger 3D, think of it. It's going to be something that's going to be like this. Like I'm going to make a ball. So it's going to be beige, okay? You imagine. It's going to be beige. I'm going to make a ball in my hands like that. And then I'm going to go flat one side, and I'm going to keep it round the other. And I'm going to probably sprinkle sesame seeds on top. And then I have a green piece that I'm going to layer with a little ruffle to look like a piece of salad. And then, you know, so you have to have it in your mind, because If you don't, then you're not just keeping enough to make your beige. So you have to have the drawing in your head as you make the fondant already. That's why I address this now. Okay, so let's not let time go by too much, because this is gonna start being gluey to the surface, and we don't want that. It's already a little bit, see, it's probably humid right now. So we add, you know what, it's so gluey, I'm gonna put some cellophane under, because I already know it's gonna glue. Let's do that. This way you have it live, you have the real struggle, and you see what solutions that we come up with to make it work, instead of selling you that it works just perfect. Not in that kitchen. In that kitchen, there are obligations. I have an autistic child. I may need to take one to water polo as my cake is baking, and as dinner's not ready, and as the other one needs ABA therapy. I mean, you know, it has to work with the life of the house and everything else that you need to do. And we just adapt as we go. Okay, so now I'm gonna put this on the sugar here, so it's not gluing. And I'm gonna just try to put, I just wanna take, see, I have all that fondant that glued. But if I put water now, then it's gonna be sticky, so I'm trying to take it off. And I do it with my hands, right? Not with a knife, because you don't wanna pierce your mat. Okay, so let's do that. Let's just cellophane wrap everything. Okay. I'm gonna go under so it's not moving too much, because that's gonna be bothering us. And the second one. And I'm doing my surface like this, because I'm gonna try and go as far as I can. So it's covering the whole cake, right? We try to do one piece here if we can. If it breaks, it will have a table cover on top. That's okay, we breathe. Decorations will hide it. Okay, so here I have my surface. It's not perfect, but it's better. I put sugar on it. And I would be doing a cake that's wrapped and nothing is hidden. I would not be able to do that. I would have to clean my mat. But right now, for the sake of the live, let's do it gaining some time, instead of it taking a half hour extra. So we get to cover a cake together, or try at least. Okay, I'm gonna also cover him, because for the little starry, I started talking about this earlier and then I stopped. I bought a rolling pin on Amazon in stainless steel, and it was sold to me as to be non-stick. You guys, it was not non-stick. So that little guy got returned, and now I'm going back to my old rolling pin that's probably 20 years old. But I need a new one if someone has a good one. Yes, croissant au chocolat is incredible. We call them pain au chocolat. We call them pain au chocolat. I think my YouTube is translating all your comments in French. I'm like, en serio? Okay, no, it's moving too much, so I won't be able to. See? Let's see how I'm gonna make from the paste something that's flat, and that's gonna come and basically marry the shape of this. That was in the fridge, so it's not getting, no, I cannot do that. Okay. It's not gluing though, it's perfect, but I can't. So let's hope it doesn't glue to my mat, so we don't have to do it twice together. Okay. And your kitchen will be full of powdered sugar, and that's okay. There's no other choice. It goes really well out with water. Okay, so I just need those little things out so it's not gluing. I don't want that powdered sugar anymore because it has little crumbles inside. This is what I don't want. See, because those will glue. Don't know if you see on the video. And little chocolate croissant was probably super hard to make because then you had to make the puff pastry. Did you make it or did you buy it? Because I found a good puff pastry that's actually industrial and that's gluten-free. When I don't have the time to make my own, I mean, you know, all that folding with that butter that cannot be mixed. Okay, so I have sugar under as much as I possibly could. When I keep it on my hand, see how it's gluing again? So I'll just cover it in sugar right now. But as I do this, this is gonna get harder, okay? It's not gonna be as soft. Okay, so let's do this. And as we go, we'll just check that it has sugar under and that it's not gluing. So now it's like you're making the dough of a pie, basically. But you want it thin enough that it's not gonna be a big thick paquet, but you want it thick enough that it's not gonna shred either. I need to figure out why YouTube is translating everything in French for me. Maybe because it hears my English is so bad. I don't know. I don't know how to take that one. Okay. So this is a little workout. On a small cake like this, it's fine. On bigger cakes, it's insane. Because you want this piece to be big enough. You know? So, see, it's gluing. Okay. So that mat is not as good as my IKEA mat now. I'll add sugar, but it's gluing to the mat. This is exactly what I didn't want. Okay, that's okay. So I'm gonna clean my mat, put cellophane, and do this ASAP, not wasting time. So let's do it this way. Just so I protect my fondant for the time being. Here, I put it with you guys. All this will go to my trash and we'll just clean the mat really well so there's nothing that glues. Here we go. I want no pieces left at all. So my cellophane is gonna stick to it. Because now I want my mat sticky all of a sudden. So cellophane cooperates. So here. And I want no bumps, otherwise the bumps are gonna be visible on the dress of the cake. So see, Caroline, when I tell you, oh, I call you back in 25 minutes, I need to cover the cake in a dress. This is what I'm doing. Basically, I do it before it dries. Here, voila. We'll apply cellophane. And cellophane will stick to a clean mat. Voila. So it's not going to do the same. We'll also do paper towel. And as you color and you dye in several colors your fondant, you want to try to make sure that there's no green left when you make yellow, or because it's going to color your entire little loaf that you selected. So you spend your time doing what I'm doing right now in between colors that you use. Oh, you didn't make them from scratch? You know what? Sometimes they're good, even not from scratch. I mean, you can also make them, the chocolate croissant, you can also make them with, how it's called? The phyllo dough. The phyllo dough, you just put it into shaped egg yolks, and you just put egg yolk, one, again another phyllo, and it has like this little eggy thing in between. You put your piece of chocolate, you wrap them like a croissant, or a chocolate croissant, or you roll them in two sides like you would do a chocolate croissant, right? And this phyllo dough is gonna just fluff like it would be a fluff pastry. Super easy. And that you buy, because pâte phyllo, I know nobody that makes it themselves here. I know a baker in Brittany in France, but that's probably it. Okay, so we have this that now I want super flat, of course. It means, you guys, that I need a new mat that's not sticky, by the way. So that's not good news. It's the same as the roller pin. There we go. I'll do the next one straight away, so they meet each other as flat as possible. Up, yes, it glues to my mat. It's perfect. Okay. Voilà. I want the least amount of pleat possible. I cannot have it completely flat, but the more flat, the better. I'll put a last one because I don't know how far I'm gonna go, and this cake is small, but it's high, so there's big sides to cover. And once you put powdered sugar on cellophane, it doesn't glue anymore. So let's just cover the whole surface. Here. Okay. No bubbles. Voilà. Alors, c'est parti. Now we go back with this. We add some sugar. We don't need to add as much because this is going to be non-stick, of course. Well, hopefully. So let's do it. Because there's powdered sugar on this, see, it's not gluing anymore, so I'll just change it. Okay. I don't want that piece that went into the sugar. No. Here. Okay, if you're equipped with the right rolling pan and the right mat, you don't need to go through this, supposedly. Just because I'm using the same thing over and over for the past 15 years, I have to do a little effort. But I guess at least what I show you, anybody can do in their kitchen, you know? You don't need any specific tool or anything to make it happen. We all have a knife, a spoon. Most of us have a rolling pan. And most of us, if we don't have a mat, have a surface or a table in wood, and we can make it happen. So at least it's realistic to most people's reality. Okay, so here, I'm gonna take my knife, and this is an extra piece that I'm gonna add here. I don't know if you see properly. I would love to see exactly how I do it. Do you see better? I hope you see better. It's just I'll have a hard time seeing the comments now. So see how it merges perfect? At this point in time, you can still do that. In a few hours from now, you can't, because it will be too, just too worked, too dry, too, I don't know. Won't be able to make the seam disappear like this. And I'm not trying to make a perfect circle. I know this mat has a circle. We don't care, my previous one didn't. I'm just trying to make a size that's gonna go to all the sides of my cake. So my cake is covered. Knowing that technically this one, because I'm making a tablecloth in fondant, I did not really need to have the cake completely covered, but I mean, for the sake of the live, you'll see it. Okay, so let's double check if it glued or not, because I'm a little worried. Slightly, see? So I definitely have an issue with this mat now. Oh well, okay. So let's not damage that. Okay, I'm gonna add a piece here, some here, some here. I hope you see what I'm doing. Now I have to hurry up, so my fondant is still good for my wrap, but I hope you see. I hope you see that basically I'm trying not to have a long extension somewhere that's not the right shape. I'm trying to have a circle. Doesn't have to be exact. I'm gonna cut the edges as we put it on top. It's almost too thin here and too thick here. So I'll just elongate it on this side, because we may not use that part. Okay, so now if you don't know, like, how big does it need to be? This is where the math comes in the picture. If you don't know how big it needs to be, here's your mold. This is my cake. Is this long enough all around to how it looks like? No, it's not. So I need this bigger. Because right now, my cake is high, and what I have around is actually not going to the edge of the plate. So I need to do more. And that's how I know. So as you go, you'll know because you're used to it. But before you're used to it, just don't play magician. Sometimes it's just better to anticipate. Because what's in something going nowhere. Okay. So let's see. This is an extra that is not gonna be or circle no matter what. Am I right? There you go. So we'll try to add some here and maybe here, and that should do. Up. Voilà. And this usually I put straight back into cellophane. or my kids get a bite because this is the leftover. But I don't waste it because until I'm done with the cake, I'm always scared I don't have enough fondant to make it all. See, there was some pink on my roller pin left. I can't believe, from the roses of last week. Here. Okay, so I hope this is gonna do. And I'm gonna put it onto my pan, my rolling pin like this. If I need to, I'm gonna try to help with a knife, because I don't know if it glued or not. I can't believe it glues like that. Maybe I'm gonna do it moving this. So see how I adapt as I go? I mean, just, yes, it glued, look. Wow. Okay, so now I'll do it from the other side too. But there's always a solution, huh? You never did this for nothing. Okay. So now we want to go fast. Up. Okay. There we go. Now your cake is covered. And so you work it from top to bottom. You take the excess off right here, because this is heavy on your cake. So it may shred it. So you take that weight out. Here we go. You be careful not to cut it too short and then you don't have enough for the sides of your cake. All this fondant we can use later. Either keep it white or in what we will dye in different colors. I'm doing this side without showing you, so I go a little faster. Here we go. This goes into cellophane already. And this has already been mixed with a little bit more powdered sugar, so this will remain white. Which is why we still try to measure the quantity of fondant of which color before we've cut the white piece. Okay, so I need my little spinning plate. Here we go. Now we can go back like this. Okay, so now the way you're gonna do it is, because we had issues with this piece of fondant, of course my plate was coming from the fridge, so my plate has condensation. So my plate is slightly wet. Because it's slightly wet, it's gonna glue. So I make sure that I'm doing this with my knife so I'm not shredding my fondant from the top, right? Anything that's here and that's adding weight for no reason goes and will be used later, either dyed in a different color or used later in white. This is too much as well. I already know, right? So it can go. Here. But I don't go too far because again, if I go too far, then my whole cake's not covered. And that's not good. That's not the goal, especially since this whole piece won't show, but the piece on the bottom will show. What you do if you have pleats on the bottom that you don't like, you just add a ribbon, and that's okay. Look on my YouTube, all my cakes that have a ribbon, there's a reason I put a ribbon. Okay, so here, see? We remove. There you go. Because we already know we don't need that, and it's gonna dry for no reason and add weight for no reason. And for those of you that just joined, we're making Miss Amber's cake. She's a food critic. So I don't have pressure, but I have pressure, right? And no, I don't have pressure. She's a friend of the family. She's phenomenal. Worst case scenario, she won't talk about the cake. But I know she's gonna like it because she's been trying all the cakes that we made for. So my son is 9 and she knows us since he's 3. So literally it's 6 years that she has seen the cakes for 6 years. Okay, so you go from the top and you turn it and you do not glue lower because you want to get rid of those pleats. And now that I think of it, I should have, in my head, designed a tablecloth that goes to the floor. Would have been easier. Or if you do for Halloween a ghost, I mean, no need to do it till the plate edge, right? See how I start from the top and I don't go to the bottom until I'm completely flat on that level everywhere, every single side. So what I see on baking shows or that I watched 20 years ago is they have a plate that's the same size as the cake, so it goes down, it's super easy. I don't. I have to do this, and most of you will as well, because most of us don't have the machine that makes it easier. So we just have to work it like we work the petal of a flower. And as we go down, we make sure that these plates just don't form, but we do it from both sides, so we don't want to go down too fast. I hope it's clear what I'm saying. I'm not sure it is. There we go. So now I know that I have all this that's extra for nothing. So I'm gonna cut further because I don't need all of that. For sure I don't. And as I have less to work, is less risk of a pleat. So it's, no matter what, it's better to take it out. Because now it doesn't really have the weight, now it's held by the plate. Earlier it was going around. And then the risk is it shreds from the top. But see, I do it as I go. I'm not taking the risk that then it's too short. I'm doing it on this side, so it's easier with my right hand. Here. I hope you like it, you guys. I was thinking, I didn't really know what type of live we could do because I'm trying to teach the process step by step. Do you see that? Like, I have as much on the edge that's left of the too much. See, I'm seeing something here. Oh no, it's on the camera. It's the light. Okay. I have as much too much from around than I did from making the original wrap. So right now, just to gain time, I'm gonna use any plastic that's not good, but that's gonna do for 5 minutes right now. And so yes, so I'm looking for topics to do of things that you're interested in, but I need to do it as I make the cakes. So here, so we did the wrapping of the cream earlier today. There's the making of the fondant from scratch. Then there's the dyeing of the colors. Maybe we should do something on the drawing and the design, because several of you said that it's not your forte, and it really is not the hardest part if you think it easier. And then maybe some decorations, which I so far tended to make shorts about, so it would be fast and easy. See, I go to the plate, going down really slow. So should I have a pleat left, it's gonna be down, 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 not on my cake up. Does that make sense? For those of you that are still here with my bad English, thank you. Okay, but I'm really trying. We could almost make those lives in Spanish, would be easier for me. Okay, here. Maybe not on the topic of a cake though, now that I think of it. We'd have to try. Okay, for sure in French would be easier. Okay, so here I have a pleat I don't like. So see how I'm going as low as I can? Okay, so now I'm gonna cut like 1/2 centimeter to the end. And I do not need more. And your cake is covered. I mean, there's some details here and there, but your cake is covered. You made your dress already when you're done with that. Up. I'll finish here in front of you, this part. Okay, so now, especially if you have a chocolate cake and not an almond cake under that cover, it could leak, right? Because it's gonna, we live in sunny California, at least here. It's gonna be hot outside, potentially your cream will leak, etc., etc. And most of the time, I don't make a single layer cake. Most of the time, with as many decorations on top. Most of the time, I make a several level cake from the biggest to the smallest. And so there will be a piece of fondant like this that's cake underneath. To avoid it leaks, what you do here, and I hope you see, what you do here to make it not leak is you just push it under. You're not cutting what's left, you push it under your cake. And with the cream right now that has been out for like, let's say, already almost an hour, it's actually going to prevent that it leaks cream over cake. Et voilà. And that concludes our live. There you have your cake covered in fondant, and as we stop, I will just dye the colors I need straight away. And that's it. We'll decorate it either tomorrow or the day after. But right now your cake is covered and this is final. Thank you so much. Yes, it's wonderful. It is. I mean, I have to do a few details here and there because I have that perfectly imperfect perfectionist style. But look, this is your cake. I mean, it already looks like a table, doesn't it? Once the cloth will be on top and the burger, and it's just gonna be working. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you, Sophia. Thank you, Lucy. Thank you, Caroline. Thank you, all of you, for joining. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, it is beautiful. I need to just edit the bottom really quick before it dries. But it's, I mean, right now the cake, technically the cake is ready. Thank you so very much. You pardon my arm and my reach. I need to click on this cross to stop the live. It was phenomenal to do it together. Thank you.